Properties of parabolas. Horizontal parabola properties. First, you're going to start with your equation of the horizontal parabola, which is y squared equals 4px. We know that it's horizontal because of the placement of the y and the x. Step 2 is to find your focus. And your focus is P. So, and for a horizontal, it would be P comma 0 because it's x comma y. And then the third step would be to find your directrix, which is essentially negative, your negative of your P, which would be your negative focus. Then your fourth step is to find your focal diameter, which is going to be the absolute value of 4p. And it's basically going to look like this, where you start with your parabola at the vertex and then go up. And then there you have it. That one is for a vertical one, but it's essentially the same thing. And now we'll move on to vertical parabola properties. And it's basically the same thing, just flipped to the x-axis and not the horizontal, and not the y. It's flipped to the y-axis and not the x-axis. The equation is now going to be x squared equals 4py, and we know that it's vertical once again because of the placement of the x and the y. And step 2 is to find your focus, which is still that P or F or whatever, essentially. And then step 3 is to find your directrix once again, which is negative P, and it'll be 0, negative P because it is vertical and not horizontal. And then the last step is to find your focal diameter, which is still the absolute value of 4p. And it'll still look like this. This is an example of a horizontal one because I did the vertical one on the last one. But it'll essentially look like that. It's just the width of the parabola. And now we're on to an example. And most examples that could be on tests or exams will be to find the properties of said equation. And the equation that I have chosen for us today is going to be find the properties of this parabola, which is y squared equals 24x. And our first step is to figure out if it is horizontal or vertical. And we know that it is horizontal because of the placement of the x and the y. And the next step is to find our foci. And we know that our foci is P and 24 is 4P, so we can do 24 divided by 4, which is 6. And then 6 is our focus, so it would be 6, 0 because it is horizontal. And now we're going to do our directrix, which we know is negative P, so it's just the opposite of the focus. So negative 6, 0. And now we're going to move on to our focal diameter, which is still 4, the absolute value of 4p. And we know that 24 is our 4p, so we know that our focal diameter is 24. And there you have it.